Welcome to Sharika Talks, Unraveling the Truth, a journalist's quest. Subscribe for the truth.
Chapter 27, Beneath the Storm. Hey, Rishika. Alice wants to say hi to you. For a second, Sharika wasn't aware Adam was speaking to her. As Sharika surfaced from her thoughts about Sachin, she remembered she had been using her alias ever since they started their journey. She instantly pushed the thoughts aside and focused on the present. Seated on the back seat of Adam's Jeep, she focused on Adam's phone screen. In it, she saw a cute little girl in a brightly colored dress, laughing as she threw paper airplanes across a room. On closer inspection, Sharika saw two tiny white sugar gliders scampering and gliding after the paper planes in a playful race. A deep, caring joy bloomed in her chest, and the 7-year-old Alice grew even more excited when she saw Sharika's smiling face on the screen. She always likes to throw paper airplanes and let her sugar gliders fly past them, Adam added after the call. As Riaz returned after settling the hotel bills, they began their work, wandering through the dusty, unpaved streets of Tulsipur and visiting remote surrounding villages. The air was thick with the smell of wood smoke and cooking lentils. Thatched roof huts stood clustered together, and curious children with wide, dark eyes peeked at them from behind weathered doorways. They felt a wall of silence from the residents, a sense that they were hiding something behind suspicious, guarded expressions. Finally, in a tea stall, one old villager opened up. He told them of a one-eyed man named Sher Shah who had come recruiting men from the villages years ago. He had an elegant, strong face, but his right eye was as pale as a full moon, the man recalled, his voice a low whisper. He was tall and had a well-built body, with old scars on his face and the palm of his hand. He came 36 years ago, and he looked to be in his 40s even then. He said he was representing the government of India, recruiting able-bodied men for a special army wing called the Gurkhas. I still remember him so clearly because my late brother's son was selected. He left with that man. We were so proud, but my nephew tragically died in 2010. When we approached the Indian government, they had no clue about this man and said our boy was never part of the army. The old man's eyes glistened with old pain. But we are still receiving a monthly income. It comes by post as cash. As the old man finished, Sharika and Riaz could barely contain their excitement, their questions tumbling out. The only other clue he could provide was the postal cover, which showed the stamp of the India-Nepal border town Sonauli. Their only other lead came from a middle-aged man who claimed that during a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash, his team got lost in an unexpected storm near Lapchala 6 years ago. We found shelter below a 1,000-foot cliff, he said, his eyes wide with the memory. But high above us, in the raging storm, we saw men climbing that vertical cliff face like spiders. After the storm passed, we heard several gunshots echo from the top of the cliff. We were terrified and ran from that place. Lapchala, the same spot she tracked Sachin when he crossed into Tibet, Sharika thought. As they walked back to the Jeep, they discussed the revelations. So we can conclude Sher Shah is indeed the Black Tiger, Sharika said. His profile, height, age, it all checks out. But his eye, Riaz argued, then immediately found the answer himself, imagining the brutal torture the man must have endured. They both dismissed the possibility that he had turned into a double agent. Sharika called Sheila. Sharika, I was thinking of calling you. Sheila's voice was sharp. Riaz informed me about yesterday. Have you recovered from the shock? Always keep an eye on your surroundings when you're in the field. Yes, ma'am, I'm okay, Sharika replied. Now tell me what you have. As Sharika recited their findings, Sheila heard everything calmly. Sharika finished by saying, after Butwal, where I had the location for Sachin, we've decided to check the Sonauli post office for any information about the sender. I don't think that trip to Butwal will be necessary, Sheila said, her tone unwavering. I have checked on Sachin. I can assure you he is not part of Vidhur, Nor do I think he or Deep Enterprises are part of a terrorist group. In all the places your tracker pinned him, he was working for Deep Enterprises, mostly for the archaeological park they're building in Delhi. And the location you had in Butwal, Sheila added, is actually near a Satyajit Foundation safe house. He may have just been visiting there. Sharika felt as if a hammer had struck her in the head. She still hadn't adjusted to the void left by the tracker, missing that all-seeing sensation. She couldn't accept that her 2 years of work were just a child's game. But ma'am, the Varanasi incident, the Amritsar incident, he was inside those temples when... Fort Kochi, Sharika blurted out, her voice stammering. Deepa K. Sharma. There is an explanation for it all, kid, Sheila said, a noticeable uneasiness in her voice. I didn't say he and his associates aren't breaking any laws. I just said they couldn't be part of Sher Shah or Rocky. This is a corporate giant we're talking about. Corporations like Deep Enterprises sometimes steal artifacts, bribe officials, cut deals in the shadows. That doesn't make them terrorists. They may have attempted theft from these temples to preserve valuable artifacts for their park, which is, of course, illegal. But whether they display these original artifacts disguised as replicas, or whether they hide them in their vault for the future, it doesn't matter for this project. Do you have any court-worthy proof? If yes, file a complaint after this project is over. But ma'am, a sudden revelation struck her. If it's a Satyajit Foundation safe house, what if Rocky is the Satyajit Foundation? The name Rocky is symbolic of protection, their actions. Have you gone insane, child? Sheila snapped. Do you think Kailash Satyajit got a Nobel Peace Prize for running terrorism? If so, Dawood Iqbal should be next in line. It's true that the Satyajit Foundation's methods are unconventional, but that doesn't make them terrorists or change the goodwill they have. It was my call to include someone as young and inexperienced as you in a project of this national importance. I did so seeing your hard work and dedication. I felt like you have good journalistic instincts. Don't make me regret that decision. Think like a grown-up, not like a child. Sharika almost cried hearing her mentor's angry words. Ma'am, she tried again. What if Rocky is the Satyajit Foundation, and it was someone like Dawood Iqbal who planned the attack on Amritsar, and Sher Shah, the Black Tiger, countered it? He may be operating a rogue organization. That's a possibility, Sheila conceded. But if that's the case, why are you going in search of Rocky? Our mission, Sharika, is to find out what happened to the Black Tiger, not to unravel Deep Enterprises or find out who Sachin is. Do whatever you like, but don't take any decision without Riaz agreeing to it. But don't disappoint me. As Sheila hung up, Sharika fought to hide the tear that escaped her eye from Riaz. She told him everything. I think Sheila ma'am is right. We have to consider all possibilities, Riaz said carefully. And from my experience, huge corporations like this won't fund anything unless they see a return. It's true that some huge business corporations fund terrorist organizations, but they do it for getting political and natural resources in return. Here in this case, B broke off thinking. So, should we go to Sonali or Butwal next? Sharika inquired as they reached the Jeep, where Adam was talking on his phone. Adam also inquired, overhearing their last sentences. Where next? Riaz sighed, thinking. He knew the logical answer would hurt her. Finally, he made a decision. Let's go to Butwal first. Rishika here will share a location. We have to go there next. As Sharika shared the location, Adam checked his watch. The map shows a 5-hour drive. We'll be there by 7 p.m. if we start now. This last turn before Butwal shows rough terrain, so we may be late. We'll only have an hour of daylight. We could camp there with the tents I have, or drive back to Butwal for a hotel, which would take more than 1 hour. Or should we go directly to Butwal and travel to this location tomorrow morning? Adam asked, thinking of all possibilities. Let's go directly to the location. Sharika replied, coming out of her dilemma, now determined to prove her point. Adam glanced at Riaz, who simply nodded, still conflicted. She climbed into the front seat to navigate. Adam's usual roller coaster like driving style reduced Google Maps' estimated arrival time every passing moment. At 5 p.m., Adam took a sharp left turn just after a sign that read Buttwall 10 kilometers. The road immediately became a narrow, crumbling ribbon of asphalt ascending into the mountains. The Jeep's suspension groaned as it climbed through a dense, dark forest. The air grew cold, smelling of pine and damp earth. Adam expertly navigated a series of gut-wrenching hairpin bends that hung over sheer, terrifying drops. The road was a series of uncountable hairpin bends, which Adam took like an F1 driver, the Jeep's engine roaring. Sometimes it felt like a jet engine about to take off. It was only 5:30 p.m., but the colossal mountain range in front of them blocked the sun, plunging the trail into a misty, premature twilight. Adam turned on the headlights and powerful yellow fog lights, cutting cones of visibility into the gloom. "So how exactly did you find this location?" Adam asked, his voice tense, his eyes scanning the impenetrable wall of trees on either side. "I have a source." Sharika lied instinctively over the engine's roar. "A hacker friend who traced it." "And what exactly are we going to find?" Adam started to ask, wrenching the wheel through a sharp left bend. At that exact moment, a sharp crack echoed through the valley, followed instantly by a violent thump. The Jeep lurched hard to the left, the steering wheel torn from Adam's grip as the front tire exploded. Sharika grabbed the dashboard, her knuckles white, her body thrown against the door. But instead of braking, Adam fought the wheel and slammed his foot on the accelerator. Suddenly, the darkness of the forest erupted in a terrifying series of strobe-like flashes. The air was filled with the deafening, continuous roar of automatic gunfire. Bullets slammed into the Jeep's frame, sending sparks flying into the twilight. Adam screamed, "Get down!" Sharika froze for a microsecond as she saw the muzzle flashes, a string of angry orange firecrackers, less than 100 meters away. Then, with a sound like a thunderclap right next to her ear, the front windshield didn't just shatter, it exploded inwards in a crystalline spray of 1,000 pieces. She threw herself down as far as she could, the roar of the engine and the hail of bullets overwhelming her senses, the metallic taste of terror in her mouth, convinced that this was her last day on Earth. End of chapter 27.
Thank you for watching Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest. Subscribe to stay updated on Sharika's journey. Stay tuned for the next part.
Disclaimer. Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest is a work of fiction. The experiences, ideas, and theories presented by the characters, including the books they write, are purely fictional and do not reflect real-world events, beliefs, or ideologies. While some incidents and characters may be inspired by real-world scenarios, they are entirely fictionalized for storytelling purposes. The author does not endorse or share the viewpoints expressed by any character in this novel. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or real events is purely coincidental. Viewer discretion is advised.